Now, of course, we all are going to get old eventually, but it's not necessary to age before our time. And of course, most people don't like their wrinkles, so they treat the wrinkle. And they treat it with creams and serums and Botox, all these different things, rather than treat it from the inside out. What people need to realize is the aging appearance on the outside of the body is actually happening on the inside as well. And when we're talking about wrinkles, we're talking about collagen and connective tissue. The fascia that surrounds all of our muscles and all of our body will become stiffened and cause us to be in this certain posture, which is usually slumped over. And many times by the age of 40, we've lost 25% of our collagen in our connective tissue. So today we're going to talk about how to prevent this problem as well as reverse it if you have it. And of course, I'm talking about premature aging. I'm not talking about completely stopping the aging process. That is going to be impossible. There is a certain enzyme in the body, and this enzyme actually breaks down collagen. So what are the things that triggers this enzyme to go higher? Certain antibiotics. You also have ultraviolet radiation. You're out in the sun excessively, burning yourself too much. Now, that can also trigger this. However, I still recommend that you get a lot of sun, okay? And I'm going to talk about that at the very end of this certain section. But let me just make this understandable. The more sugar that's in your body, the more it's going to lock up protein and it clogs everything up. Okay, and if you have a lot of that going on because you eat a lot of refined sugars, then you're going to look really old, okay? Just as a side note, I want to explain something about sugar. Everyone's like afraid of sugar and they're trying to avoid sugar, and they'll start reading the labels and say, wow, this doesn't have very much sugar, but it has a lot of carbohydrate. What is that carbohydrate? It's starch. Starch is a bunch of sugar molecules connected together. So starch is sugar. And when we talk about starch, we're not even talking about like the starch in vegetables like a salad or even a potato. We're talking about severely ultra-processed starch that is called either maltodextrin, modified food starch, way worse than actual sugar. Even though there might be no sugar in something, you have to understand on the label, there could be other starches, which is just basically hidden sugar. But there is something, it's vitamin D. Vitamin D helps protect you against the loss of collagen. This is why I recommend everyone should be taking at least 10,000 IUs of vitamin D3 for many different reasons. One being the protection against the premature aging. And also there are certain cells in your body that make collagen. The most potent stimulus of collagen is exercise, adding motion in your body versus being sedentary. All you have to do is to start using the body and it'll start to make more collagen. Now, as we get older, we're more susceptible to having injury on our joints. So there's a couple of things that I always recommend as we get older to focus more on. The plank exercise, where you're holding a push-up position. That's not easy. You're holding tension, but you're not moving your joints, and you're strengthening your collagen just from that. There's also another type of exercise called eccentric exercises, where you're lengthening the muscle, you're not contracting the muscle. So let's say you start off with a push-up position, and then you just slowly let yourself down, okay? But it creates a super amount of tension and stimulus of collagen. Also, if you're on a pull-up bar and you pull yourself up, and then you slowly let yourself down, you're lengthening the muscles. One of the things that will really strengthen pretty much all of the collagen in your body is to do sprinting, but you do it on a very gradual level to the point where you are basically causing your body to adapt to that motion, but also all the vessels around the heart, the valves, the tissues, because it's not just about looking younger, it's about being healthier all over. Then we get to nutrients. There are certain nutrients that we need to make collagen. At the top of the list is vitamin C. So our bodies need vitamin C to help form collagen. And there's two things that block vitamin C. One is sugar, and the other is smoking. And by the way, as a side note, the best food that has the highest amount of vitamin C is raw sauerkraut. So a cup of that a day, you'll get 10 times your RDAs for vitamin C. The next most important cofactor or helper for collagen is vitamin K2. Vitamin K2 is known for keeping your cartilage, your ligaments, your tendons, the fascia, and your skin nice and youthful. And where do we get vitamin K2? You can get it from eating liver, egg yolks, and you might be able to get it from some butter as well. The next cofactor I'm going to talk about is magnesium. Magnesium allows your body to make collagen. Magnesium is involved in 300 different enzymes in the body. It also allows that vitamin D to work, which actually prevents the breakdown of collagen. Where do we get magnesium? Dark chocolate, almonds, and spinach, and things like that. The next cofactor, and this is really important too, zinc. Zinc keeps your skin very youthful. Zinc also speeds up wound healing. And where do we get zinc from? Oysters have the most zinc. You can also get it from red meat and also liver. And then the last cofactor I'm going to talk about is copper. Copper you can also get in oysters, red meat, shellfish, liver, and dark chocolate. I also want to touch on something that can really make you older is ideal protein. It's a very, very crappy protein. It's probably the combination of that protein and very low fat and all the other artificial stuff that just makes someone look older, and they would have problems with the gallbladder and the liver. Your quality of protein is important too. Instead of doing this plant-based isolate type proteins or even any other plant-based proteins, I would just recommend mostly grass-fed beef. But realize when you consume a lot of your protein just from chicken, lean turkey meat, even pork, you're getting a lot more omega-6 fatty acids. You're not getting as much omega-3 fatty acids. But when you have grass-fed, grass-finished, you're getting a much better ratio. Another thing that's really important is autophagy. It means self-eat, okay? And you're eating damaged proteins and then turn those into new proteins. It's kind of an anti-aging effect. And to achieve that, one thing you can do is do intermittent fasting. So you're not snacking all the time. You're doing maybe 2 meals a day, maybe 1 meal a day, and your body is healing. So that's another thing that's really important. And then there's sleep. If you yourself or you know people who haven't slept for a period of time, they age quickly because of the stress and the cortisol that occurs too. So we need a lot of sleep, and exercise can help reduce stress. But there's something else too I want to put on your radar. If you've never heard about this, you should check it out. One of the most powerful anti-stress hormones is called oxytocin. And there's a way to basically make your own cultivated dairy product with a very specific microbe to grow that in a milk culture that you consume a half a cup of this every single day. And the cool effect that it has in your body is that that microbe releases something that travels up through a nerve called the vagus nerve right up into the brain, and it goes right into the hypothalamus, and there's receptors waiting there to be triggered. And so that particular microbe in sufficient amounts releases a lot of oxytocin, which greatly helps your sleep and greatly lowers your stress to the point where you can actually rejuvenate your skin and your muscles. So in this video, I've given you more than enough to start reversing some of the aging process, and definitely to prevent the premature aging or wrinkling of your skin. And if you want more information how to increase your oxytocin, I put that video right here. Check it out.